What's going on? I'm going to be doing a series of tutorials focusing on the Java programming language. Now, I've been sort of holding off doing some coding tutorials, but considering that, I have a good deal of time now that I kind of want to kill as well. We're entering the new year as of recording this, so I'd like to, obviously do some videos. Good reference to use is I'm using the W3 schools for some of my reference notes, but, as well, kind of a series of my own. The Java programming language, it's an object-oriented programming language. It's very powerful. The Java programming language essentially is one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most robust and powerful languages, and it's commonly used today in mobile application development, especially with Android development. Of course, though, there are other languages that people really like using outside of Java. Mainly Kotlin is a language that comes to mind. It's very, very similar, but we're not doing a Kotlin. We're just focusing on Java. The version that I'm going to be using is the JVM 15. As well, I'm going to be getting into some Java effects as well. Where to begin? As well, I'm going to be utilizing the open, or say not the open, the free version of IntelliJ. I love IntelliJ. It's a very powerful application. Probably one of my favorites for development. It's very nice. Now you kind of see all this stuff. Now I did kind of create a instance that was already kind of pre-set up for Java effects. Henceforth, the controller class, the application class. We're not focusing on any of this right now. Just assume none of that exists. I recreated a class called tutorial. Now, obviously, to create a class, just go to Java class. Now we're just going to do one called main. And there we go. All right. That's creating a class, and the good thing about the IntelliJ is that a lot of the imports for your libraries is pretty well automated, as well a lot of the commands of, say, doing certain, incorporating certain functions. It's already kind of preloaded. It's a very powerful little application. Well, not little, but I guess you get my drift. So, we're going to do some work with output. Now, first thing is that, we're going to kind of talk about just right now a method related to classes. Now, this is the most popular, and this is a shortcut PSVM. And this is the public static void main class, and all this, or not class, method. All this method does is it's essentially your main method in its default, which essentially just pretty much takes a string and it returns a set of arguments. That's really all it is. Of course, that main isn't related to this main. That's just the main for this specific class. We're not going to really worry about much of that. Right now, we're just going to do the famous system out, or SOUT And all this does is it pretty much just prints out a series of, say, characters. We're going to talk about different data types and that shortly. But we're going to do our good old hello world. But if you see down there in our terminal, gives us hello world. Now we can also make a modification. Just cut that real quick. So, hello, this is a Java tutorial. So we'll do a build. Hello, this is a Java tutorial. Now, it's different kind of, different kind of prints, but the print line is the most commonly used. Say there is system system out dot print, in which this is commonly used for integers. Say if we want to print the number 1 or say 120. Control F9. Shift F10. Also print multiple lines. Or we could print multiple numbers, which, you know, kind of change that up. Say 130, 140, 150, 160. Now, of course, we can kind of do, when we cover loops, it'll iterate. But, you know, for now. And see, like, right here, this is the important part. There's no space. Because it's just literally just printing that series of characters and it's kind of combining them. Now, kind of a good little shortcut is we can concatenate with a line break, which, you know, say, just copy that real quick. That should jump or skip a line. So that concatenation or that line break, and this little symbol, this is more or less commonly used in C programming. Maybe eventually I'll do a series of videos talking about C programming, but you see, and right there, that's another empty line break, and because we have nothing, we can actually just omit that. But if you go through all the, say, the different type of print outputs, there's a whole bunch. You can do it for longs, you can do it for floats, you can do it for integers, do it for even objects. You can print objects out. And say like printf is actually is a very common one in C, and that's just printing. You know, it's a different kind of printing. I don't have to really get into that at the moment, but that's pretty much the gist of it, generally. Now, of course, these curly braces is pretty much where all of our information in this method is contained. And say, like, when we get into different methods, you can actually contain different methods inside of a class, but right now we're really just primarily focusing on the main. Now, you can kind of do basic arithmetic as well with the println. And this is actually another powerful utility. Of course, you would never do it like this, but just to show 30 plus 30. Oops, wrong button. So, see that? It did skip a line. So we'll just make that into to that for a second. Okay. See, 60, as you would anticipate. Or say we want to multiply that by 2. Or say divide. Yeah, you know, you can kind of get a gist of it. Now, of course, it's important to also talk about the convention for comments. Comments are very, very important in programming, and making good comments is always a must. And I have to emphasize that because you can be working on a project for sometimes, say, multiple weeks or maybe even months. And you might forget where you're at or what you're doing. Say you have one set of a recursion loop inside of that's its own method that, you know, it's contained in some big, huge method or whatever, sub method, and you want to like sort of make a note of that. Now, this is a way of making multiple comments. Multiple lines. As many as you can place. That's a multiple comments, single comments. And so on, if you get my gist here. Now, we're gonna sort of just do one more kind of special thing, and we're gonna talk about inputs, because as important as it is to output data or print data, it's also important to put it in, is using something called the scanner class, which all that really is. And of course we're going to be talking about different types of variables and data types and that, so I'm just kind of skipping a little ahead because I kind of want to talk about scanners for a second. So, also, if you see this little red thing right here, we have to import this class. This is very important to do. The thing about IntelliJ is it does it for you. So, you can either do it by a keyboard shortcut or you can just do it like this. Input object equals new scanner. System.in. All this pretty much does is this just declares what we're going to be inputting. Now say we want to do, say, have a little message. Say, let's put in a value. So right here we'll just declare a string. We'll just say value user equal to now this is the kind of the fun part. right here is just pretty much just our input object. Next, nope, next line. All this does is it just reads the input, and pretty much right here we're going to want to print it out. So value that was inputted is, and we'll just concatenate it with our value that we're reading, is value user. Now this is pretty much the query that it's going to ask you. So do this real quick. Let's put in a value. Howdy is howdy. Now, of course, there's no space. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to comment all this junk out. Make a space right here, so that doesn't do that. Howdy. Howdy's our value. We could also input, say, a number or integer, or we could input a double. Or we could just input a single character. There you go. So that's kind of just covering scanners. That's kind of just how you handle inputs. And that's how you handle outputs. Next we're going to cover data types and variables.